we have Andrew asking, is there a backstory or reason why some tartans are so busy? Also, does the tightness of the pattern make it difficult for a kilt maker in terms of pleating? His last name's McAllister. So...
yeah, McAllister's a pretty busy tartan. Is there a backstory to tartans that are busy? Not really, not necessarily. There's some individual tartans may have a backstory to them, but there's no rhyme or reason. It's not like the more colors, the more changeovers, the busier it is, the wealthier the person wear. There's nothing like that. That's all bunk. The busiest tartan I can think of is the Weaver's Nightmare, Ogilvy.
No.
Ogilvy, I guess it's just regular Ogilvy. It's not the hunting. It's the regular Ogilvy.
Yeah.
Where there's there's 897 different changeovers in the set. It's a ridiculously complicated tartan. But there's no reason to it other than the person that designed it liked it for whatever reason. It's not my taste necessarily, but they liked it.
They just hate weavers.
Yeah, they hate the weavers. Exactly. Now, is it more difficult or less difficult to make a kilt from a busy tartan? Yes. Depends on the set size, and it depends on how busy. The main problem is when you're pleating up the back of a kilt, you want to have on each individual pleat, the ideal is to have a single thing centered on the pleat, or a pair of things, like two stripes side by side, centered on the pleat. And when it's a lot of little stripes all side by side, when you are tapering each individual pleat, you may grab like a little bit of red, let's say, on the bottom of this pleat, but by the time you taper it to the top, you lose those 2 or 3 threads of red because you've had to taper it in. And then what happens is you end up with red spikes going up, individual pleats on the back of the kilt. If it's pleated to the set, if it's pleated to the stripe, you'll end up with, a ton of spikes going up there.
Yeah, and the only other time that type of thing happens is someone's a really big hip to waist
waist
difference.
to hip ratio, yeah.
Yeah, if it's their, if that's large, then usually you see that type of thing going on.
Like if it's a 34-inch waist, which is kind of small, and 46-inch hips, so there's like a 12-inch difference, then there's a lot more taper in each individual pleat versus a guy who's like 40, 42, 40 waist, 42 hips, where there's not a whole lot of taper to any pleat.
Yeah, there's a Ross that we're working on over there somewhere. That we have that same exact scenario where some of the red has to spike out. It's just because of the waist size and the hip size on it. But yeah, going to the busyness of it, it's just the how did he have that worded again?
Is there a reason why there's a busyness or not a busyness?
No, I mean other than just to annoy weavers.
Just looks.
Yeah, there isn't. I guess business is also in the eye of the beholder in certain cases. There's things that I think.
The what's in the eye of the beholder?
The busyness of it. Like some people will say, like clerk or clergy is really busy, but when you compare that to an Ogilvy or to a McAllister, it's not
that busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's a balance.
Yeah.
Like there's a balance between Rob Roycheck, which is Buffalo check, which is literally just like the checkerboard. It's black and red squares, versus Ogilvy. There's a balance to be struck between those two extremes. You want to have, in my estimation, you want to have two main fields with a strong pivot, and you want it to be, interesting and a little bit complex, but not crazy that it gets too busy and you don't really see a full pattern within it. Like Ogilvy, it just kind of, at some point, it all just ends up blending together. Whereas like Wallace or Roberts or Rob Roy McGregor, it's just very, very simple. There's really not much to it at all. It's almost too plain for my taste.